Okay, in our discussions for this episode, it is now very crucial to have a very clear policy with regards to the U.S. and China and prioritizing our friendship and partnership. Is it the traditional ally, the United States of America? Or shall we cultivate a better relationship with China, even comparing to that of the United States? Of course, the American ambassador has been working very hard to try to restore U.S.-Philippine friendship and relations, if it can ever be called really friendship in the past or in the present. There is this report, may balita nga na the next meeting of Trump and President Duterte is not going to be here in Asia, but it is going to be in the United States, insinuating and hinting that Duterte is accepting an invitation to go to the US dahil dati, sabi ni President Duterte, hindi siya bibisita sa Estados Unidos. Okay. But very recently also, just a few days ago, President Duterte was quoted to say that if there is an all-out war in Mindanao, President Duterte, will turn to China for arms and ammunition and support, and not the United States of America. If the full-blown war, sabi niya, quoting directly, in Mindanao, saan ako maghingi ng tulong? Where should I ask for help? America? You think there are men in the boots who would come here? Ang layo noon, it's too far. And even the shipment, Duterte said during the 117th anniversary of the office of the Solicitor General this past week. Well, of course, sariwang-sariwa, it is very fresh in the memory of President Duterte that in 2016, the U.S. State Department blocked the sale of 26,000 U.S. M4s for the order from our government for the Philippine National Police of such arms. But this is not the first time in Philippine history when in a crisis, the United States turns its back on the Philippines. Several decades ago, 4 decades ago, or maybe it's even almost 5 decades ago, when Marcos was faced with the war against the Muslim Moro National Liberation Front, MNLF, which was the biggest challenge ever to the Philippine Republic. The Philippine Armed Forces was running out of ammunition and arms because the casualties were running into the thousands, and it was a war of attrition too. Of course, our arms are American arms. And when Marcos tried to buy from the United States refused to sell for various reasons, including the fear of strained relations with the Middle East, which was supporting the MNLF. Naturally, it is a problem that the U.S. will face. So where did President Marcos turn to? Reportedly to 2 countries, China and Pakistan. Nung naglabanan ang Republika ng Pilipinas under President Marcos laban sa MNLF, talagang matindi ang labanan noon. 1970s po yun. At ubusan talaga ng ammunition. Samantalang ang mga MNLF ay sinusupply galing sa labas, ng Saudi Arabia, ng Libya at iba pa, ng OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries, or Conference. Ang Pilipinas ay mga armas, puro galing sa Amerika, nauubusan ng bala, bibili sa Amerika, hindi binenta ng Amerika. Saan naghanap si President Marcos? Sa China at sa Pakistan. But that is why President Duterte has more trust in China. Now, this is not just also only in the issue of this military equipment. In finance and investment, Duterte has brought in from China $1 billion of investment, which is 3 times the investments of President Noynoy Aquino. During the first 21 months of President Duterte's administration, the investments from China totaled $1 billion already. And this is going to grow. You remember, tandaan natin, the agreements for investment was signed only in the middle of 2017 and in the last quarter of 2017, but it is already beginning to come in. The other big ticket investments, government to government, such as the 170 billion peso Manila to Matnog train. This is going to take time in planning, land acquisition, right-of-way, and so on, but it is coming. And recently, they've just inaugurated the irrigation pump system for Chico Dam, for the Chico River, Kalawa Dam, Kalawa in Davao, and the opening of the Alegria oil wells. However, even to this day, there are anti-Philippine Chinese friendship elements that continue to try to discourage the country and Filipinos from understanding President Duterte and the trust between the Philippines and China that has been there for the past 1,000 years. From the time of Raja killing of Butuan in year 1000, where there were trade missions from Butuan to China, and then 600 years ago, the Sultan of Sulu, Paduka Batara, who went to China, was feasted and honored as a brother of the Emperor of China, but couldn't make it back because he got sick on the way back home and is buried, and they're still honored in Dezhou, China, with their several hectares big mausoleum and place for all the descendants. There are constant attempts to confuse and discourage the people, such as these attempts by Richard Haydarian, the in-house resource person of GMA7, regular contributors of Rappler and so on, and Western media. And it's good the Department of Finance finally debunked this claim of this Richard Haydarian, who is also a scholar in LaSalle, that the Duterte economy is in a fallout. Pabagsak na ang ekonomiya ni Presidente Duterte. But the DOF debunked this alleged Duterte fallout on the economy and reported, first, the fallout that Haydarian is imagining is debunked by the rapid growth of the economy, 6.7% in 2017 and 6.8% in the first quarter of 2018. And the 4.1% average rise in prices from January to May was more than fully offset by the tax cut under train. Paalala po ninyo, below 250,000, wala na pong binabayaran na tax. So nakatulong yun sa marami din. And so on. But let's watch out for these who try to discourage the budding friendship, again, of China and the Philippines. They have tried to do this in other countries. Sa ibang bansa, ginagawa din nila, sinisiraan nila ang mga pagtutulungan ng China at ng mga bansa, tulad sa Myanmar. Sabi dito sa isang balita ng Asia Times, Myanmar risks falling into a China debt trap. Paulit-ulit po yan, debt trap daw. Sa Pilipinas, sinasabi din nila yan. Tapos, they report fake news about the interest rates, saying that, like this underscore which I have exposed since last year, 2017, saying that the Chinese interest will be 10% and above, when Secretary Dominguez has repeatedly explained that it's going to be 2% and below. Then Sri Lanka. The New York Times, for example, says how China got Sri Lanka to cough up a port. The case is one of the most vivid examples of China's ambitious use of loans and aid to gain influence around the world. and of its willingness to play hardball to collect. That is a lie. This is what the Myanmar officials say. There is no Chinese debt trap, says Myanmar minister, as government pushes for joint port project to go ahead. I think we have another image to replace that. Can you, yeah. So sa bibig mismo ng minister ng Myanmar, sinasabi nila, no debt trap, magandang negotiations namin at gusto namin yung proyektong yan. As well as in Sri Lanka, we have reported the new Sri Lankan finance minister being very happy about the equity debt swap for the Hambantota port and challenge India and Japan to do the same. Now, what is the fact on the ground? The New York Times has been trying to scandalize this project by saying it is not working, there is no progress, that China land grabbed Hambantota port. But what is the fact on the ground? So let's show that. This is from Moon of Alabama. He's a blogger that is very reliable on geopolitics and geoeconomics. And he's American. And this is one of his reports. Currently, about 1 ship per day, mostly large car carriers, arrive at Hambantota, unlike container ships which stay only for a few hours. Car carriers take a few days to load and unload. Handling them requires a lot of personnel. This is good business for Sri Lanka. To show how bad, quote, the Chinese investment is, the New York Times points to only 34 ships in 2012. Pero hindi binabanggit po nitong New York Times that the 2017 and 2018 number of ships arriving at Hambantota port is 10 times as big, or 340 ships, almost 1 ship a day. Hundreds of thousands of cars loaded, unloaded, transshipped, and so on. See how the Western press tries to destroy the evolving, good and productive relationship between Asian nations and China. Okay, I think we're running out of time. So the point of our discussion for this week is that this trade war is coming. Let us get ready for it. Let us support our government during this time of great challenges, not just for the government, but for our own welfare, the people of the Philippines. And China is going to be the pillar of strength through these perilous times. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much and have a good, thoughtful week ahead of you.